Hi, Trina Wright here for day 10 of 365 days of realizations. So it's later tonight, and I am getting ready to do my meditation practice. And I wanted to share with you just a little bit of the pre stuff that I do. And usually I'm doing this with my eyes closed, but I just wanted to take you through. So before I even begin to do what would seem like meditating, I just spend a little bit of time attuning and quieting. And so I guess you could say that I have a little bit of a process that I use that I wanted to share with you. So that is that for me, the biggest point of meditation at this time is to have union with my inner being, to be fully in awareness and just to be aware of awareness. So to open to the potentiality of being one with source or oneness or God or whatever you want to call it. And so to get ready for that, I want to begin to attune my vibration to the highest place that I can on this day. And I also want to begin the shifting from being so outward focused to being more inward focused. And so definitely the breath helps with that. But even before that, I know I've noticed it. And I know many people will say that when they meditate, there's lots and lots of thoughts. It's almost like it's the end of the day. And so for many of us, we had many years where just as you're getting ready to go to bed or go to sleep, all the things that you didn't get done today, or all the things that you want to do tomorrow, or just anything that came up during the day starts to come up. And so I have a little process that I do with myself where I close my eyes and I just am. Like I'm just there. I just notice the feeling of presence that's there. And for me at this point, it's not always that a lot of thoughts come, but sometimes. And when it used to be that more, then there's that cool technique where you just let the thoughts be. You're okay with them being there. You don't feel like you need to chase them away or push against them. You just let them be there. But I find it sometimes helpful for the first few minutes, and certainly just give yourself a time frame around it, like the first few minutes, to just take a noticing of what the thoughts are. And if you can really sort of step back from them, that's even better. And just sort of be like an observer of your thoughts. So you're not engaging, you're just observing. But as you notice what the thoughts are, then just say silently, sort of to yourself, I'll take care of that later. Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. I'll take care of that later. Oh yeah, that's right. I'll take care of that later. And just whatever arises, you just you meet it. Thank you. Thank you. But you don't own it. You just meet it and let it go. Almost as if you're talking to your mind, because it's your mind that's finding these thoughts. It's your mind that's sort of bringing them into the energetic field at this point. And since you're choosing to be in a different energetic field, a different place of calmness and peace, and ultimately sometime in silence, the beginning part is not to feel like you need to push the thoughts away, but just to be okay with them. But disidentify with them. Don't see them as your thoughts. And so by saying thank you, you're appreciating the mind. And I think sometimes it's even been more helpful for me to almost be a little firm and sort of just with my mind. It sounds funny because it's just my eyes are closed and I'm with myself, but I'm sort of having this inner dialogue where I say, okay, that's enough now. We're going to do this. You can rest now. Thank you. I appreciate you. We're going to rest. We're going to just take a time out from thinking, and you just just let it go. And then if they arise, just start to see them moving further and further away from you. So you're disidentifying. And it's also helpful to hold to the reminder that thoughts don't belong to you. It's easy for us to think that we're thinking the thoughts and creating the thoughts. And that's definitely true when we choose to engage with a thought and then bring it into the fullness of our experience, then we're thinking with the thought or thinking the thought. But initially, when it simply arises, it just arose and it didn't necessarily come from you. It's just there. There's thoughts floating all around because they're just energy, just like everything else. They're just a vibration. And it's very common when you sit to meditate because you're so quiet and you're so still and you're so receptive and open and intuitive that it makes sense that some of those thoughts will come. But the important thing is that when we meditate, we're not thinking. We're not sitting down to think thoughts. We can do that at a different time, and that's a really cool thing to do, to be in that receptive place and then engage with thoughts. In fact, I recommend it as the best way to engage with thoughts. But up until that point, just sitting and just observing them, not being attached to them, and just letting them go. And then begin to just distance yourself further and further away from them, so you feel like you're going more and more and more into awareness or presence, energy. And just be there. And for some people, it's really helpful to use the breath. But the technique I could put into a few steps is to close your eyes and just be quiet. Just go inward, shift your focus from the outer to the inward. Take a few slow breaths to help with that. But almost feel as if you could turn your eyes around and be looking inward, like you're shutting down all of the stimulation outside and just moving into this place. And then just begin what I would call listening. And it sounds funny because it's not really a listening with the ears. It's more of like an energetic, vibrational listening. So you're turning your full attention onto being and your full attention onto receiving the gift of that moment. And then from that place of presence, see, just be. And whatever arises is perfect and fine. Nothing you need to do about it. And if it's a thought, remember, the thought's just there. You could sort of see it as a white, fluffy cloud against a blue sky. You're just the sky. You're letting the thought go by. You don't need to hold it. You're not thinking the thought. It just came. It's okay. Think the thought. Let it go. Do that with a few thoughts. And then begin to notice that the clouds and the thoughts get more and more spaced out, more and more wispy, less and less dense, further and further away until they seem really, really off in the distance. And then move your attention even deeper inward. Move it to the breath and begin to focus on the breath. And just begin to observe the breath. So the whole time you're just staying in that space of observing. And if something else comes up, another thought, just observe it again. Thank it and let it go. And just continue that process. And so that's kind of a simple way that I begin to start meditation. And then I have some other techniques that I'll share on other days. But this is a really nice way to begin by bridging between the physical world and where I want to go, which is the inner non-physical world. Especially at the end of the day when we spend so much time busy, doing all kinds of things with a real outward focus. It's just helpful to take like a couple extra minutes at the beginning of meditation. And then, of course, it becomes part of your meditation. So I guess it's not really fair to say it's not, but it's just that little piece that I do at the beginning. So I invite you to try it if it works for you. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.